What's up, MVPers? I'm just gonna record a video. We'll go over some striker troubleshooting. Obviously, do your own troubleshooting, but you can use this kind of as a template, I suppose, to troubleshoot your own esoteric meter recovery. We'll leave SSB at level 7, we'll take the standard tripods and we'll max them out. We're going to unequip the rune. I'm going to assume, also I apologize if my mouse is making a lot of noise, I'm going to assume that you have at least 2 green and 1 blue, and you have at least 350 spec, and you're playing 3 spender. I guess I can, nah, I'll do 3 spender for now. Alright, we're gonna dump. So, no meter. We're gonna not land all of our SDK. We have just barely enough now. Alright. Off to the races, huh? Okay. This really doesn't give you much to work with. So with 350 spec, you're pretty much locked into having to land your full SDK. Then you're gonna have to VTD into your TE. Now it feels like you're playing Deathblow. That's funny. So, as you can tell, it is doable. You may have to improvise with some auto attacks. Now, the secret striker sauce, Lucky Bubble. We're going to leave it at level 1 because I'm going to be assuming that you're a brand new baby striker. Don't use the DPS numbers or anything. Just, we're focused down here. Eyes down here, not up here. Eyes down here, not up here. Alright? Little DPS Andes. Then we're gonna fake pretend we're Deathblow. Oh shit, we got an extra bubble. That's an inside joke for anyone who plays Deathblow. So, as you can tell, the lucky bubble will sometimes work into your favor, and if it works into your favor at least once, then you're off to the races because you'll then be able to cap your bubbles, and as long as it works sometimes, you should be fine. Because basically what happens is if you cap your bubbles, you spend 2, but then you're going to be making back a little bit every time. And as you can tell, we had 1 bubble, and then we generate just 1 bubble from VTD, SSB, and Flashy Fang combined. So you'll be able to repeat the cycle very consistently. I'm kind of just hoping that it'll fail once, so we can see the value. Jeez. Oh, failed. So, we're still left with 1. Nice. Okay. So even if you don't use your SDK at all, with 350 spec, that's the spec value we're running with, after your first cycle, it basically resolves a lot of the issues, and your VTD, your flash sheet, and your SSB will kind of make up for a lot of that lack. Obviously, your cooldowns, they're not going to be exactly the same as me. If you have downtime, always auto attack. To auto attack cancel, it's just C, C, while holding down the move button. So you just tap. If you get good at this, it's all it is, and you kind of just do that in between. We'll generate a little bit. I thought, you know, maybe trying to talk about meter generation, it would happen again, but you know, whatever. Lucky bubble. It's RNG. You're sometimes fighting it. Now, with Force Bender, all you would do is drop VTD, and you would run Moon Flash Kick. With Moon Flash Kick, your tripods are White Flame Kick, excellent mobility, and Full Moon Kick. Full Moon Kick just changes the animation from a holding skill to like a single hit skill. It is important because you don't want to be animation locked. You basically have to hold the skill down in order to get the full value out of it. So quickly demonstrate for science. That lucky bubble, man. So hypothetically, you want to use it with 3 Spender. We can probably remove SDK entirely from the combo. Gives you a real life taste of how it is to play Deathblow. Obviously, you can tell it does work fine. It's a little clunky in the beginning, but Moon Flash Kick gives you almost like a solid bubble by itself. It is definitely a lot more than the other skill, and I didn't have the Wealth Rune on it, so something you can consider. Obviously, things get a lot easier the higher spec you get. If you get some of these tripods, that's fine. Once you're at around 500 spec for the 3 Spender build, you can drop the Esoteric Extortion and it'll be fine. We'll go into that part of this video next. This is just going to be way easier for me to actually reset. So the 640 is the spec value that I like, and I'll go over that here in a minute. No lucky bubble no more, you don't get your crutch. So we are at 500 spec. We do not have the SSB with the Wealth Rune on it. We have Lightning Whisper with a Wealth Rune, and we have VTD with a Wealth Rune. This will require you to, yes, do your horizontal content. Oh my god, it's horrible, it's awful, I hate it. So you have enough with just SDK followed by your combo, and then after a while, as you can tell, you can remove your SDK and perpetually repeat the cycle indefinitely. Despair, despair. I'm just really tired right now. So this is with 500 spec. Now the first hit you need to land with the SDK. Once you get a little bit of meter, you're fine, and then it opens you up to do combos like this, like Deep Blast Formation. This is your like 6-second giga burst parsing DPS, that kind of shit. Higher DPS combo for 6 seconds. So things to consider, I guess, with that. I'll finish off with the Flash Heat Fang. Even after having a little bit of bubble from doing the cycling for a little bit, you have basically one bubble left over exactly. So 500 spec is my recommendation. Obviously, you can do this with a little bit lower. You would just run a Wealth Rune on SSB. Now, why would you want to run a Wealth Rune on SSB even at this item level? Is for this exact reason. It's not enough. It is technically enough if you combo differently, but from a dead stop, you're not going to be able to just mash buttons LTS into TE. So if you have a very short window and you're starting from no bubbles, you may run into complications. This isn't going to happen a lot, but in clear raids like Homework Run, where you are commonly just using like 2-3 spenders and then the boss disappears for another 20-30 seconds, this will become more of a problem with this spec value. So dead stop, like let's say you've managed to keep up your adrenaline because SSB can self-sustain. Maybe you don't want to use your SDK because of having mobility to dodge like your pools for Vicus. That's then how you would have to combo with this. Obviously, like I've said 10,000 times, play around with your Wealth Runes. We will slap. Boom, all the problems solved. And it's still more than enough for VTD and SSB to cover one bubble by itself. So, the other reason, just very quickly, with 500 spec, your VTD and SSB do not recover enough for one blast by itself with 500 spec and max drop pods. So these are always things to consider. You may think to yourself that you can combo this way or that way, but you need to test things yourself. This is why when I play 3 spender ESO, I do very specific combos. I have 3 combos. I guess I can go in detail with those right now. This is with 642 spec. No rune on SSB. I would traditionally run a bleed rune. So combos for ESO. This is from a dead stop. You have enough to cycle by yourself without SDK. So SDK can be used once you get about this much spec. You can drop this, I believe, all the way down to like 620 something. I can't remember the exact number. And still get 2 bubbles off of Lightning Whisper and SSB. But you always have the crutch of running a Wealth Rune on SSB if you so choose to do so. So with having SDK available, this becomes a huge benefit for your mobility as a striker, and it also becomes a huge benefit for Fatal Azazenith down the road when you basically hit a mob with Fatal Azazenith. Your elemental skills have a chance to proc the buff, and it's 24% damage increase for elemental damage. For 8 seconds. And as we've previously discussed, we have a lot of abilities that we can get off in 8 seconds. For the sake of the video, we will start to go over some of the combos yet again. I did make a striker guide, and you're watching this, you've probably already seen the striker guide. But in that guide, I went over some of the combos. There is one that I left out. I didn't really catch it until I rewatched it later. But this would be that combo. Sorry, this would be that combo. I forget that I have to, with this rune set up without the wealth, I need to actually do a full cycle beforehand in order to actually have enough for blast formation. So sorry, this is the combo that I was referring to. Scratch that. I'm not gonna edit it out of post-production because I'm lazy and tired. So basically, blast formation is going off during your lightning whisper. There is a brief moment. Obviously you need to have one fully completed cycle or run a wealth rune on top of what you're already running in order to do this. There will be some raid captain loss if you are running raid captain. So very briefly, so as you can tell, it did drop down. I did have rage proc, I believe, and so I would say that 136 temporarily, but that's just a crutch. It's not something that you can consistently rely on. Now obviously this becomes a little bit more consistent when you have a support. So with the support, never falls off, and then even with that combo specifically after your flash sheet fang, you'll have enough time for your awakening. It's important to realize that this is an 8-second combo and this is a 10-second combo as well. There's something called Atropine that exists in this game. Now we've already covered that from a dead stop I can recover to bubbles with just Lightning Whisper and SSB at this spec value. So when playing 3-spender ESO, Atropine becomes a huge benefit. Atropine basically is permanent SSB for 10 seconds. So hypothetically, let's say I've been using my SSB to help maintain my adrenaline stacks. I'm now going to be basically going over my thoughts of Atropine. So I've been using my SSB to stack Atropine, or stack adrenaline, waiting for like Belshazzar to come down from Egypt back to the real world of being spanked by fictional characters. So Atropine goes on. I get my full damage off during my Lightning Whisper. It's well within 10 seconds, and with Atropine you are capped attack speed and movement speed during that entire cycle. Now it does require you to have a little bit of bubble meter to begin with, even just this much is fine. But you would get off your full combo. So your 5-sheet Fang, you wouldn't need Fists of Darkness because you'd get the crit rate buff from Lightning Whisper. Everything would get off. You would be able to also do this in your Fatal Azimuth window because you have everything going off within the window of Lightning Whisper. You can even sneak in a awakening skill, and you won't be able to get the whole thing inside your Lightning Whisper window, but it is what it is. Maybe if you... Oh, because I've been doing this combo so much. I think if you did the SSB into the Lightning Whisper, it would work. Yeah, you might actually be able to get it in there. I don't know if this is actually affected by Fatal Azimuth. I don't parse, I don't test with Fatal Azimuth. I don't have it, so I don't use it. But things to consider when you are playing your striker. So, brief recap. We have the standard combo. And for the standard combo, you would want to use your SSP before your Lightning Whisper. With the fast combo, you would still want to do that, and that's just so that you can get the small hits in the Lightning Whisper window. So that is a benefit of the fast combo. And then we have the Blast Formation, followed by the standard ESO combo. Now, theoretically, you don't need to do the Blast Formation into the Lightning Whisper combo ever. However, it is nice to be able, if you know the boss is going to be getting countered, you can kind of just start Blast Formation, and then it's kind of nice knowing that the boss, Gate 3, with Brel, you know that the boss is going to be, after she gets countered, you get your Blast Formation, you can start it while she's getting countered, and then you can follow up with your full DPS cycle, and then you can sneak in your Awakening, all within a solid support buff cycle. These are just how you take advantage of these windows. And then she'll peace off to Narnia, and then you can kind of do mechs, and then you can go back to more standard rotations if you so choose, or you can go to these fast and slower modified. So with the slow combo, it allows you to do mechs, or maybe run around, dodge some stuff, maybe reposition. It gives you that leeway. You get extra room without being super punished. So these are all things to take and consider when playing. I hope this answered some people's questions. I hope this helped some people experiment their own ways with ESO Striker. And I also hope that this helps some of the newer players understand bubble management as well as the combos. So all one video, bubble management, troubleshooting tips, things that I know work fundamentally that I've demonstrated here, and then some of the breakpoints to get into alleviating wealth runes here or there. You can still run a wealth rune at my gear score. Very rarely do I miss enough abilities or don't get like the full flash heat off or with VTD to maintain adrenaline so that I can reposition with SDK. Because what can happen is the boss is going to plop down and then you may have to like reposition. So for example, like boss pops down and immediately turns around right after I press my lightning whisper. So you can kind of shimmy your way on over and then go back to doing combo, assuming that now this would be the boss's back. So these are all things to consider, saving your mobility, parsing and doing things specific ways, using Atropine if you do so choose, and also understanding that these buffs, these cycles, I can fit my 3 spenders in my lightning whisper window if I want to. And that's important because your bards, your paladins, they have set schedules, and if you do these slower combos, you end up waiting a little bit. And before you know it, you may be doing DPS outside of a bard or a paladin buff because they have to do mechs and they have to have their own uptime as well. Not every class gets like a 10-second buff like a Soul Fist or 12-second like Gun Lance. A lot of other classes, they have shorter term buffs, and it's important for you to try to get as much DPS out as you can. So these are all the different combos. It's like, I guess my 3rd time trying to end this video, I guess. But Midwest Goodbye, what's up? This is just things that I've taken into consideration. If you have any questions about how to cycle the DPS or any tips maybe that you know, or bubble management tricks, things like that, leave them in the comments. I honestly would be really happy if other people would research some of this stuff so that I don't have to spend so much time in Trixion learning how to play my own class, but you know, so be it. It's kind of nice to play other classes and people already figured out everything. Kind of like that. But I hope this helps. If you do choose to make a striker in the upcoming Power Pass, I do plan on releasing a Chaos Dungeon build guide thing within the next week, so that'll be out before we get the Power Pass. So look forward to that. It's going to be much shorter, much simpler, a lot less talking, more killing. So alright, with that, have a good night, and see you in the next one.